Tony Pan with Behind the Handlebars series. Today we're going to be talking about storing your motorcycle, or if you have stored your motorcycle, to recheck on some things and make sure you've done everything you should have done. So stick with us and we're going to explain everything that you should do and some things that you shouldn't do. We're getting ready to store our motorcycle for winter storage or for an extended period of time. Maybe you're going away on a business trip or something and you're going to be gone for several months. Whatever the case, these are some things you should consider. First of all, are you in a northern climate where it gets cold? And is your bike going to be in a heated garage like this? Or is it going to be in your personal vehicle garage where you don't have any heat? That's going to make a difference. When you cover your bike, you want to cover it with a quality bike cover, like you see here. Do not cover your motorcycle with plastic tarp or plastic sheathing of any kind, because that's going to, with the temperature changes during the winter, some days it's going to be warm, sun's going to be on your garage, it's going to warm up a little bit, then the temperature drops at night. When the sun goes down, you get condensation. And water, of course, we know is an enemy to motorcycles and shiny parts, so we don't want condensation and rust forming. Before you cover your motorcycle, you want to make sure you clean it. Do a good cleaning and wax job, and at least get all the surface dirt out, and clean your bike up, get it ready before you put the cover on. We want to do a few things before we store this motorcycle. First and foremost, we want to change the oil. Get a good quality oil. Start this motorcycle up, get it to operating temperature, and then drain that old oil and get all those contaminants and things that are going to cause corrosion in your internal parts of your motor out of that engine, and then refill that oil tank to the proper level with a good quality oil. The weight you want to use is the weight you're going to be using in the springtime when you start riding again, so you don't have to get a real thin oil for winter use unless you plan on riding in some of the cold months. You also want to get a good quality oil filter. Again, I like to use AMSOIL, but any product, K&N, any good filter, the Harley-Davidson filter, your Suzuki, whatever your manual calls for, change the filter too, so you're all set to go for springtime. Another consideration is your fuel. What I like to do is I like to run my bike before storing and get the gas tank pretty much down to almost empty. And then I'll take a good product like the stabilizer, read the directions, and it'll tell you how much gasoline this should be added to. Thoroughly mix the stabilizer with gasoline and then fill your gas tank all the way to the top, so there's no room for air up there. You get as high as you can. That cuts down the condensation when there's temperature changes in your garage, and it lessens the chance of condensation and rust in your gas tank. And it also stabilizes the gasoline itself. One other thing that I always do is I get a good engine fogger, start my motorcycle up, take the air cleaner off, and I'll spray this into the carburetor. This is a fuel injection. I think it'll still work on fuel injection, but what I want to do is I want to spray this fogger in there so it'll get into the internal parts of the cylinders. I also take the spark plugs off, spray this into each spark plug hole, and then turn the engine over again. This is going to put a protective coating on the internal parts of your engine. If you have a liquid-cooled motorcycle, you want to also check the coolant level and make sure you have proper coolant, especially if you're in a non-heated garage. You don't want that radiator or that liquid storage system to freeze and crack your radiator or even your engine block. Whenever storing your motorcycle for any length of time, you want to make sure you've got a battery tender on there so your battery level stays up. You don't want to put a traditional battery charger on, because that's a continuous charge and that'll actually burn your battery out. So what you want to do is you want to get one of the what they call battery tenders, which puts a real low voltage 2-volt charge into your battery, and it'll automatically kick out when your battery's fully charged. As your battery level drops, the tender will start charging again. So it maintains the balance and the charge in the battery without overcharging the battery. Some motorcycles have what they call a pigtail connection, a little connection coming off the battery, and you can plug right into the pigtail. You can't really get at the battery because it's underneath the seat. On a lot of motorcycles, the battery is really hard to get at. So people will install these pigtails on the battery terminals, and it's an easy plug on, plug off. And you don't have a pigtail attached to your terminals, you'll have to use the clips, the alligator type clips or the clamp clips for your motorcycle, making sure you put the positive on the positive post and the negative on the negative post, or grounding it somewhere on the ground on the frame where you don't have paint, but you got a good ground. If your motorcycle isn't completely charged, the battery isn't completely charged, when you plug the battery tender in, it's going to either be red, or meaning it's low charge, and it'll stay red until the charge goes up, or it'll be blinking, which means you have somewhat of a charge, but it's not a full charge. And it'll continue blinking green like this until the charge is all the way up, and then it'll remain solid green. So once you connect the battery tender for storage, all you really have to do is to check every once in a while and make sure your light is still solid green. If it's blinking, or if it went red, you want to check to make sure that maybe during the course of time moving things or walking around the bike, you might have knocked one of the terminals loose, and you want to check your connections again and make sure they're fully connected. All right, we have our motorcycle cleaned, we've got the oil changed, we've stabilized the gas, we have a battery tender connected, we have our breathable cover ready to go on. We pretty much are set, except for one or two final details. And what I like to do is I like to take some WD-40 and spray it into the exhaust pipes just to give them a nice coating, because that again was running and there's condensation in there. Get a little coating of WD-40 in your exhaust ports. And if you're storing your motorcycle, especially in your garage, unheated garage, it's a good idea to take some kind of a baggie or some other kind of a cover, put it over the end of the exhaust and attach it with a rubber band. This will keep those nasty little rodents from crawling in there. They like to go into these little spaces and make nests. And I don't think you really want a mouse in your exhaust system in the springtime when you start that motorcycle up. All right, I hope you got some tips here for storing your motorcycle for any length of time. And if you haven't done some of these things, it's never too late. You can still do them. So have fun storing your motorcycle and get ready for the springtime. I hope to see you on the road. Tony Pan, behind the Handlebars series with Hupy and Abraham.